Hey guys, so for today's movie review, I'm going to talk about the film Jacob's Ladder. It's a film by Adrian Lyne who worked on Fatal Attraction and Unfaithful. Um, in this film, you guys, Tim Robbins plays a Vietnam War veteran who, um, basically we think that he's home. He's, thinking about, stuff that happened in the war, when he got hurt and when his people in his platoon got hurt during the war. Um, and back home in the U.S., he's always seen like these surreal beings walking around, specifically in subway stations. He's seeing weird things happening. He seems to be seeing things that not a lot of other people are seeing. People are doing things around him that he's not comfortable with. Like if he, like for example, he's cold and feverish in one scene, and the person he's staying with at the time pushes him basically into this bathtub and freezes him even further with pouring all this ice on him and stuff. So weird things like that happen throughout the film. Um, his name is Jacob Singer. Also, that's the Tim Robbins character. Um, he also questions kind of the life that he has because in some ways he's living two lives. He's not sure if one of them's the real life or and the other one is the like this nightmarish life that he's seeing when he goes to bed at night and he's dreaming, or if it's vice versa. He's not quite sure which one is real, which one is fake. If he went back in time, if this is the present time he's living in. So he's never quite sure, and neither is the viewer as you're watching the film. There's one life where he has this big family that he remembers before going into the war. Macaulay Culkin plays one of his kids. He has like I think he has three sons. He knows them all by name, and he has this whole history with them. And he also has this other life with this woman that he knows from work through this post office job he got when he got home from the war. And he's kind of she's almost kind of like the mistress and the roommate in some ways. And he's not sure if that's the nightmarish one or if that's the real one, or if it is the real one, it's the present day one, and if that's the case, then something happened in the present that he's not aware of or he can't remember. So basically, Jacob Singer has to figure out, what's real and what's he really dreaming about at night. Because it's quite clear that the dream world and the reality feel very similar to him because they're both so surreal. He seems to know them pretty well. This wife or the mistress or whatever it is that he's staying with seems pretty comfortable around him. Um, People are dying off. Some people are seeing this nightmarish visions, also from um, the war that he was a part of. So basically, Jacob Singer has to figure out, what's real and what's a nightmare, or is it both? Um, he also has to, well, also without me spoiling anything, he also realizes over time also that some parts of when he was a part of Vietnam stayed with him and never quite went away. Um, so that's about as much as I can say without really spoiling anything. So this is a really good film, you guys. I really enjoyed Jacob's Ladder. For the positives and negatives, I thought it was a very suspenseful film. This is for the positives. It's just really suspenseful. It keeps you guessing. Builds upon its horror and its thriller elements very well. It's entertaining throughout. You'll never feel bored throughout the film. There's some really good surreal imagery in here. I would even go so far as to say as it's probably some of the better surreal imagery since Mulholland Drive, and that's probably one of my most favorite surreal films. Um, I like that the Adrian Lyne set up this living two lives setup because we really don't know which one is real and which one's the nightmare or which one he's dreaming about at night. It was kind of a cool setup, and you're really guessing, and he's like, okay, that looks more real, that looks more nightmarish, that one looks more real. This one looks a little bit real now, so we're kind of guessing the whole time. The real or fake questionability. We really don't know what's real, what's fake, if it's in Tim Robbins' head. So the story plays it out very, very well whenever they're trying to fool you with that kind of stuff. Most of the story is very well filmed, also. It's definitely a well filmed movie. Cinematography is great, the camera angles are great. How they film certain things, even small things like the mistress turning on the bathtub, and we see the hand turning the bathtub knob and everything. So even the small stuff like that really works well with this film. For the negatives, you guys, it is quite a bumpy journey to get to this clear ending that does kind of basically sum up why this whole film happened the way it did. Kind of tells you, basically what we were seeing and why it was just so real and so all over the place. But it's a very bumpy journey getting there. I mean, after a while, it's almost too many possibilities after a while. And even though that's great, it's a great suspenseful way to make a film. It just kind of feels bumpy after a while, and you almost wish there was a more fun journey to get to that clear ending than it actually turned out to be. Um, there were some things that didn't quite gel as what the way I wanted it to. So like rather than feeling like an entire piece of a film, it was basically piece by piece by piece. Like there's a certain part of the film that feels surreal. There's a certain part of the film that feels that's a depiction of something, and you know what I mean. So it never quite comes together in that sense. Like it's all there. We get this mystery suspense thriller. We get the horror film. We get the surreal film. We get the guy trying to figure out who he is film, but it never quite gels together the way you want it to. Um, there was a small amount of action scenes in this film, and whenever there were action scenes in here, they were actually really badly done. I would even go so far as to say, as back when they were writing the script, if Adrian Lyne really didn't feel comfortable filming some of these action scenes, maybe take them out of the script altogether, or whatever he wanted to happen in that scene, do it so it's not an action scene or something like that. Because every time there was an action scene, it was very poorly filmed. Also, kind of poorly acted because, like, when somebody was landing after getting punched, you can definitely tell that they were acting it out rather than really feeling like this guy just punched the other guy and stuff. So, if Adrian Lyne wants to direct an action film, he definitely needs to work on his action scenes because it's quite clear that he can make like a mystery and suspense film and a horror film and keeping us guessing. But the action scenes, whenever it happens, it really doesn't work. And I'm glad that there's a small amount of them because, to tell you the truth, I think this film would have been better off with no action scenes. So overall, guys, do give Jacob's Ladder an 8.5 out of 10. It's a fun, surreal film, keeps you guessing, it's entertaining, it's suspenseful, but it really doesn't quite hold up the way you want it to, and it becomes very bumpy after a while. And by the time you know how this film ends, you're just like, well, they could have done something earlier in the film so it just didn't feel so bumpy. And like I said, the action scenes in here are really not that very very good. So if you're looking for Dark Knight looking action scenes, it's definitely not that kind of film. But it is a very fun, entertaining, and suspenseful film. So make sure you check it out if you're looking for a film like that one.